Hey guys, welcome to the show. It's Nikz Sports Pod. First time ever doing a podcast. I know I promised this like months ago, but we're here now finally. I want to give a shout out to my boys who have been helping me out, Wyming and James. Really appreciate it, guys. Could not have done this without them helping out. So yeah, it's Nikz Sports Pod. Basically, what we want to talk about is football, and maybe in the future we can talk about more stuff. But I like to just, focus on football right now. For those of you who don't know me, you can check out Bernama today. I'm on there sometimes. But yeah, I love sports. I love watching football. I used to play football a lot. I still play futsal sometimes, and I take part in various things whenever I can. So yeah, we talk about topics, several different kinds. We got so many different topics coming up. So today's show, we're gonna start off today by talking about the most relevant transfer rumors and stuff that has already happened. Now, if I don't cover your favorite team, sorry lah, I can't do anything about that. You're gonna need to you're gonna need to request it. So yeah, so today let's talk about the first thing that comes to mind, and let's talk about the transfers that have happened, especially in regards to Real Madrid and Barcelona. Both teams have been heavily involved in buying a lot of players, and Frankie De Jong from Ajax moving over to Barcelona, while in Madrid they've bought Eden Hazard, Rodrigo, every single person you can think of, they probably bought already. So there's a whole bunch of players that both teams have bought. But what's the most interesting thing about the Real Madrid situation is what they want to do with Bale. Now there have been several rumors that they want to actually trade Bale to Manchester United, but Manchester United don't want him. Why? Maybe because he gets injured a lot. Maybe it's because the guy likes to play golf more than he likes to play football in Madrid. So yeah, I never know. It could be any of those things. Still, yeah, Barcelona, Real Madrid, they're very busy in the transfer activity this time around. Barcelona looking for Matthias de Ligt. And for those of you who don't know, he was the Ajax captain, the 19-year-old kid. And actually, I think they've lost that race to Juventus, who are ready to purchase him. So Juventus have also had a good transfer market as well on that. So then let's talk about the next situation. Today, reported earlier this morning, that Paul Pogba is about to leave Manchester United. Mino Raiola, his agent, has been orchestrating a move behind the scenes. And there are a few teams that are in for him, supposedly. One being Real Madrid, but they've already spent a lot of money, so don't see that happening. The other team being back to its home team of Juventus, who have spent free transfer money but have not spent any actual transfer money. So, Juventus is one of those teams that are in for him. And, of course, Manchester United, they're pretty split on what to do. On one hand, they want to keep Pogba. On the other hand, just... It's interesting, I think. Why is it that Manchester United feel the need that they need to, spend so much money on fantastic players when the track record proves that whenever they have these players, there's no proper system to keep them? I think that they've done the right thing this window. Wan Bissaka and Daniel James, both very young, both British Isle players, So I think that's the good thing about Manchester United this season, this transfer window. Pogba is part of a locker room culture there that, not very sure what's going to happen with him in the future. And while all this is happening, Manchester City bought Rodri from Atletico Madrid. And then while that's happening, Liverpool are doing nothing. Yeah, Liverpool not doing anything. They're not buying players. They're not going out. They're not finding a talisman forward that they should be finding right now, which is what I think they should be doing. Really, really upsetting because it's not good. The track record of Liverpool currently, whenever they don't spend money after a title challenge, They didn't win the title, but 2 times when they've challenged for the title, they've not followed it up with a good transfer window. And that's always been the downfall of Liverpool every season. Man City, on the other hand, after they win the title, they go and buy another player for £60 million. Last season was Mahrez, this season was Rodri. So you can tell that they're restocking their team. Pep Guardiola is rebuilding. So that's another thing that Manchester City and Liverpool fans need. Manchester City fans will be happy with the business that's being done right now, while Liverpool fans are all waiting to see what happens. True, we have Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah, but if you don't restock and reload, how are you going to challenge on a fresh season on all fronts? That's just my opinion, really. So, yeah, the other bit of news currently in the transfer window right now is in order to replace Pogba, actually, Manchester United are interested in Savic from Lazio. Milankovic Savic is a Serbian player. He's actually really good central defensive midfielder. I would say that it might be a good replacement if Pogba goes. It all depends on what they do with Matic, really, at this point, because I know that a lot of United fans are not happy with Matic's style of play. But then again, the guy's won like how many Premier League titles? You know what I mean? There's a bit of a argument going on. They lost Ander Herrera, so their midfield needs to be fixed a bit as well. I think more than anything right now, what United need is stability. So if they can get this Savic guy in, he'll be good for their team. So the other team that we're going to talk about today is probably Arsenal. Arsenal are linked with Wilfred Zaha from Crystal Palace. Very good player, one of the best wingers in the Premier League outside the top six. And there's a lot of good things about Wilfred Zaha, that he's currently playing his international football in the Ivory Coast. So he's not due back for a while. The good news is that when he does get back, they can finalize this transfer. And it's very clear right now that Arsenal want him badly. After the last, there's been arguments between Zaha and Crystal Palace, and good old Roy Hodgson and his team don't want to let go of Zaha and Crystal Palace. And Unai Emery, meanwhile, are trying to pull him away from there to join the team that currently needs a lot of rebuilding, especially after they lost 4-1 to Chelsea in the Europa League final last time around. Keep your hopes up, Arsenal fans. There's still hope for you. I'm sure you guys will be able to get Zaha. And you can at least compete for the top 5, I think, if you fix all your defensive issues. So, Tottenham finally spent money. Yay, Tottenham finally spent money. I think, the moment they spent money, all the Tottenham fans were like, thank God, finally, we've been waiting for this shit for a year. Last season, they didn't spend any money at all. And the owner said it was because of the new stadium, this, that. Now they've spent money and N'Golo Dembele from Lyon. And he's going to fix that midfield issue they have. So they don't have to play Harry Winks anymore. That's going to be a relief for them. For Tottenham, it's a season to build. I think they will want to try and challenge for the league title this time around. They've kept a lot of their core guys at the moment. So there should be some improvements in that squad unless they sell any of their main players. I think Tottenham have that prerogative to keep their players now, because they don't want to sell them now that they moved to a new stadium and they're rebuilding their midfield. So there's a lot of reasons for them to try and hold on to their star players at the moment. I think we can, for the Chelsea side of things, we can say that they don't have any transfers because they're transfer banned. As everyone knows, that's breach of FFP rules and all these things led for them. Now they can't buy anybody, basically. They can't buy players, so they basically now need to depend on their youth players. And I think in the next segment we talk a bit about what changes their management has gone through and everything. But what I can tell you is that Christian Pulisic has joined Chelsea from last season. He's come in, and he's going to be interesting because without Eden Hazard there, they've sold Hazard for a lot of money. They've sold Eden Hazard, their main guy, for a lot of money, and then they're depending on Pulisic to be that next guy. So I think for value for money wise, I think he's good investment for them, young player. But I don't know if he's gonna be Hazard. But we'll see. Yeah. Other than that, there's all that drama that's happening in Atletico Madrid right now. Let's talk about Atletico Madrid for a second. They signed 19-year-old Portuguese kid. How much they signed him for? £100 million. Like 19 years old, they bought him for £100 million. And okay, like the thing about him is that from all I've heard about João Felix, he's either the next Ronaldo or he's the next Messi or he's the next Pele or something he's all those things, and he's very highly rated and highly hyped up right now. So 100 million is like insane, even for a 19, even for like a 20-year-old, 27-year-old. Any player that costs 100 million, you're expecting them to change your team straight away, which I think Atletico Madrid can achieve. But there's the other problem with them because they are trying to sell Griezmann to Barcelona. Barcelona are trying to wait to get enough money to buy Griezmann. And how they plan to do is by selling off some key players like Ousmane Dembele or Coutinho, one of those two. As we all know, and I take no pleasure in saying this, but Coutinho's stint in Barcelona has been a disaster. And, it's not been good. So they want to ship him off, or Ousmane Dembele, who is probably the more sellable asset of the two, despite Ousmane Dembele, trashing people's houses and holding parties in his former manager's home and things like that, Attitude problems aside, he's probably more sellable than Coutinho right now. So what does this mean? This means that Barcelona are basically are not shelving out the money they're promised to Atletico. So Atletico will not let go of Griezmann yet, which means Antoine Griezmann is going to need to wait. He's going to need to wait till he gets the money from Barcelona. And once that happens, only then will they let him go. We'll see if Barcelona can actually get the money together. They need to sell at least one of their players for a heavy fee. So that's the challenge with them. So that's Atletico Madrid. This Matthias de Ligt thing is still ongoing, as you all know. Juventus has been said to agree a fee with him personally, but are not right now in the middle of negotiations. It's quite funny because de Ligt's agent is a very well-known guy who's holding out, and who knows what's going to happen with that guy. Just every transfer with him is like a battle. Mino Raiola. It's tough, very tough to get the transfers over the edge. But Juventus, if they do get delayed, I think they'll have their team. They've already taken Aaron Ramsey from Arsenal for free. They've taken Adrian Rabiot from PSG for free. They've taken who else? Well, Emre Can they took seasons ago for free from Liverpool. So their midfield is kind of stacked. So with that midfield, the forward line with Ronaldo there, and their defense, if they get Matthias de Ligt in there, they're looking really strong. Really, really strong team, Juventus. In Italy, on the other hand, I don't think there's any team right now in Italy that is very heavy in terms of transfers. But as you know, there's a new management change in AC Milan. So they're undergoing some things as well. In Spain as well, we're looking at Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, Barcelona. They've done their business, put aside, So, yeah. Next up, let's talk about the state of the Premier League favorite three. who are not in the top three: Arsenal, Chelsea, and Manchester United. Let's start with Arsenal. They're rebuilding right now in their squad situation, and they're linked to a lot of guys, Wilfred Zaha being one of them. And, they bought this 18-year-old kid from Brazil recently. I don't know what they're trying to achieve with their current transfer policy, but their front line of Aubameyang and Lacazette are already the two of the deadliest guys in the Premier League anyway. If you're talking about goals, those two contribute a lion's shares of the Arsenal goal tallies. So I don't think goal scoring is a problem for them. The real problem with Arsenal, and I think we need to talk about the problem here, is that there's not enough fight in the midfield. Lucas Torreira and Gundozi brought some fight to their team, but then if you look from the defensive midfield position backwards to their centre-backs, there's just no leadership, no communication, and I think that ends up breaking them apart a lot. And it also affects their counter-attack game. I feel like the connection between the midfield and Aubameyang and Lacazette up front sometimes is a bit slow. When they have Ozil, they have good firepower, but then they lack defensibility. When they don't have Ozil, they have no connection between them and the midfield. So there is this distinct separation between the two sides that we're expecting. There's always two Arsenal sides. One that fluidly counterattacks and attacks appropriately. The other one that tries to be conservative and tries to be defensive, only to isolate their two forwards up front. When you see the style of play they play, I think they've also suffered from the fact that Hector Bellerin has not been fit at all this season. It's been terrible for them when you think about their injury issues. They don't have a proper left back, which I think is quite funny, but Kolasinac used to be the left back of the Bundesliga when he was in his form. And then basically now Arsenal fans are pretty much rioting. I don't know if any of you guys watch Arsenal Fan TV. I do. It's interesting. It's educational. I find it very educational. Like you see how they all think, and the main thing is that, owner's not spending money. The club's in shit. The owner never comes to England to see them play. He sends his son instead. If you all don't know the owner of Arsenal Football Club, the guy's name is Stan Kroenke. Stan Kroenke is infamously known as the owner of the Los Angeles Rams. If you don't know what the Los Angeles Rams is, it's an American football team. So he owns 3 different sports teams at once. 2 in America, 1 in the UK. And his team in the UK that he owns is Arsenal. And Arsenal is their biggest global moneymaker because of the brand. Now, it's true that Stan Kroenke doesn't attend games nowadays. In fact, he sends his son to attend games. And this has made Arsenal fans quite upset. Yeah, okay, I can see you being upset, but I mean, there's a few ways to look at it. You can see it as a way that, yeah, the guy's not spending all the money in the world, but do you really want at this moment in time to splash 100 million on every single player you see? It hasn't worked. It didn't work for United. It hasn't worked for, Queen's Park Rangers when Tony Fernandes took it. So, there's that. There's that with Arsenal. I think they need to find a balance, and I think they need to get the right players, not the most expensive players. And talking next, I think the next focal point of today would be Chelsea. I want to start off by saying Chelsea have treated Maurizio Sarri very, very poorly. I think it's been a travesty what's happened. They have brought a manager who is known as a system maker and basically said, you have 1 season to win everything. Not like what's he gonna do? He's gonna win the World Cup also for Chelsea? I don't think so, right? He's got to be building his style, building his team, and I don't think he was given enough of an opportunity to do that at Chelsea. And I find that this. But then again, why are we surprised? Yeah, so why are we surprised? This is Chelsea what? This is the same thing they do every year. Every year they sack a manager. If the manager wins the Premier League, they get another year, and then they get sacked. So I mean, what does any manager got to do in this situation? And therein now with this transfer ban and everything, here comes the fan favorite, Frank Lampard. Mr. Frank Lampard had his first managerial job last year when he coached Derby County in the championship. That didn't end how they wanted. They lost in the championship playoff final, and they basically, other than that, the only thing I remember them doing was beating Manchester United in the Capital One Cup. Otherwise, I don't know. I think Frank Lampard has a huge task with a locker room full of diva type players who are all aiming to make a paycheck or chase some sort of glory. I don't know. I don't know if this is the right appointment for Chelsea, but at least what it's done now, it's done this thing where it's made the fans kind of like sit back and say, okay, he's Frank Lampard, so he's one of our own, right? But again, Chelsea fans, I think you need to realize you're not doing so much business this year because of your transfer ban. He's going to need at least a 2 to 5 year project to turn the team into what you guys want it to be. So the expectations are you need to take it easy on Frank Lampard, or he's going to be very, very stressed out. It's going to be a bad working environment, and it's going to just end in pain, basically. Now, keep in mind, this is a decent enough Chelsea team, but without Eden Hazard, their primary playmaker, who knows what's going to happen to them? They'll need to start bucking up. And I think this time, Chelsea's youth academy, which is famous, all right, it's got some good players in there. He will need to use that. And to round off the spectacular three, we got Manchester United. I like talking about Manchester United. I don't know. I mean, I'll level with you guys before I do this. I'm not a Manchester United fan. I don't know if that was obvious or not. But I'll be honest with you, I'm a Liverpool fan. But understand what I say comes out of love and, and respect for the game. And having a good Manchester United team, I think, helps the game. Your fan base, on the other hand, I don't know what to say, but we'll reach that point when we get there. So I think this season, what I've seen is there's this big debate on whether Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the right manager for Manchester United. There's also this big debate whether the locker room culture of Manchester United is the actual problem. So let me just say right now, Manchester United fans, listen. Look at me. Your locker room is the problem, lah. It really is the problem. And I don't need any more evidence than Jesse Lingard. Have you seen that guy's Instagram? I don't even need to say much about it. It's just nuts. Give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer some time. He's going to need to clean up that mess first before he, can do anything further. He's going to need to make sure that everything comes up to point. Bring the standard of the club up. You gotta get rid of some of those guys. Like, I don't know if Pogba is the main problem, but he's a symptom of the effect. You know what I mean? He's like a side effect of what's ongoing issue there. And because he's the biggest name there, he's always put as the issue. What United need is solid fundamentals, get back to basics, disciplined, style. Not 100% disciplined, but within reason, lah. I can tell that the fans aren't happy with Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka. I mean, Wan-Bissaka they might be happy, but they might not be happy with Daniel James, for example. And they're expecting Gareth Bale or whatever. I don't know. You all gotta chill out, lah. Relax. It's good. This is how you build teams. This is how you build a young. Borussia Dortmund don't buy the £100 million players, do they? They buy the reasonable transfers like Jordan Sancho and turn them into something first. And they can still compete with those players. This is the new reality Manchester United fans need to get used to. And I think also until you have a proper sporting director, this is the situation that you all have. Understanding the situation is the most important thing to move forward. But hey, it's not like anyone's gonna come in and tell you, "Hey, don't spend money," or don't buy the big players. You can still go and buy whoever you want. So now transitioning into something a little bit different. So the season's over for club football, but there's been some international tournaments. Yes, I know. AFCON is going on right now, the African Cup of Nations. And I care about AFCON because most of Liverpool's population, the team are all Africans, lah, huh? So I need to actually like pay attention to AFCON now and then. But I think it's best if I talk about the two finals that are happening tomorrow morning consecutively and how I felt about the tournament. For example, the big one is Copa America. Why is it that Malaysians are not interested in Copa America? Like seriously, like it's got all the best South American players. Most of these guys play in Europe. I mean, I guess the main issue this time around is that Neymar couldn't play this tournament because he's injured. Like honestly, since when is Neymar relevant to a football thing? He's more like involved in parties and beating women apparently. I don't understand the lack of interest. So I took a look around and all these things, and actually in Malaysia, the Copa America matches are all being played in the TV1, TV2, TV3. They're all being played on it, but there's just no buzz, no interest around the tournament. I mean, if you're like me, a person who actually looks for football and watches it, yeah lah. But if you're just someone just watching, we're more interested in the World Cup or the Euros, which I always found to be very interesting. Just didn't understand why. And I think a lot of it comes down to advertising. I think the Copa America is just not advertised like in the other countries globally. It could be that Messi the Messi, who probably would be the biggest draw, has not looked very good in this tournament. It doesn't help that Argentina, the guys who run that team, are not very clever. Also doesn't help that Diego Maradona needs to come out of retirement and speak every time Argentina do badly. I mean, I love Diego Maradona. He's a fantastic player, but just leave the team alone. So Argentina got knocked out in the semifinals to Brazil. I'm not gonna say it was an exciting game, but it was not good enough. But I think the biggest shock happened in the other game, Chile against Peru. Peru is the team that in the beginning of this tournament lost 5-0 to Brazil. That's insane. They came back, they made it all the way to the semifinals. They faced a Chile side who was a heavy favorite for this tournament, and they beat them 3-0. That's an underdog story. Like when Liverpool won 4-0, it was like comeback. It was like, whoa, that's amazing. I tell anyone that that Peru beat Chile, everyone's like, oh, really? Yeah. That's interesting. That's cool. Come on, lah. It's Peru, man. They'll never get another tournament run like this again. So I honestly, tomorrow against Brazil, who knows how they'll do? If they defend and they frustrate Brazil for 90 minutes, and they score a goal here or there, and they just focus on defending, I think they'll be fine. I think they could win. They could win that way. But if they try to play open game against Brazil, they'll die, most likely. I just that the guys, they just, I don't know what they're gonna do in that situation. Just a quick mention about that Brazil Peru game that's happening tomorrow. Then the other one is the Gold Cup, and for that I will say nobody in Asia actually cares about this tournament, which I find to be quite funny. But it's USA, it's Mexico. That's always a fun game to watch because they hate each other. Okay? And the USA are not strong at all. So it's gonna be interesting to see who wins this tournament tomorrow. I think honestly I would say USA will win. Because it's always this kind of game where USA shows that they're superior to the Mexicans. Just saying. So yeah, that's those two games coming up tomorrow, which I'm interested in. AFCON, maybe in the final, I'll talk about it. But yeah. So USA, I think, can beat Mexico. And on the other hand, Brazil's probably going to beat Peru. Sorry, Peru. You guys tried, though. I appreciate. So, with all this being said, we can segment into something that I'm pretty. I have this thing. I wouldn't say that I'm a passionate watcher of Malaysian football. But I think amongst people that I know, I watch a bit and I read a bit and I look through it, especially in our national team. I have a lot of interest in how our national team does because we're Malaysian, right? It's easy for me to say I support Brazil or I support England or whatever. But at the end of the day, I think I was born here in my country. This is my home, so I always want to see how Malaysia is doing. And I think there's a lot of stigma sometimes with people, and they don't really want to follow Malaysian football because the quality is not good, or they have expectations beyond what this region is capable of producing, which I think is a bit unfair on our people, Malaysian footballers, whatever in general. And then there's the other argument. None of these guys will ever be as good as the Mokhtar Dahari days when we were like punching Argentinians and running riot in ASEAN. So there's those two arguments, to both of which I say, I mean, football's changed. You cannot just put one in one box and say, okay, you, Mr. whatever your name, Rashid, go play like Steven Gerrard, and, score that 50-yard goal for me, please. And then when he cannot do it, you all go like, fucking useless. No wonder the standards are so low lah here. Huh? Why can't you do a simple thing like that? I don't know. Maybe the diet is not the same. Maybe the water is not the same. Maybe the field it could be better. Maybe you give him better boots, he can kick. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of things: training, regimen, attitude. Sometimes also, there's this thing I always hear when we send our local boys to go out and play overseas, right? And then a lot of people will say like, need to build his stamina, lah. He needs to learn how to play in a certain way and all. And then for whatever reason, when they come back, it's always like, dia tu rindu mak punya nasi lemak, or something like that. Of course, I'm not saying nasi lemak. I'm just saying in general. Dia tu rindu Malaysia. In that situation, I kind of always look back to how the team has fluctuated over the years. And with that, we should also talk about our local league. So currently, JDT is the champions of the Malaysian Football League. There are 3 games to go. And they're set for a record undefeated season if they win or draw their last 3 games. In any other league in the world, if you go undefeated, that's a big deal. I mean, like, I remember when Arsenal did it in England, everyone just lost their minds. They were like, the Invincibles, the amazing team, Thierry Henry, Patrick Vieira. But if I go around and say, hey, JDT is about to go undefeated, you know what response I'm going to get? I'm probably going to get, oh, really? I'm guessing all the other teams, just went home, probably didn't try, or, didn't put in effort and all these things. And I think from there, there's a fundamental thing that you all need to see, which is that this year, I think the league has been, I wouldn't say competitive, but there have been some good teams in the league. Even now, PJ has a team known as PJ City FC. You don't know who PJ City FC is? You're not to blame, but the point is, they were bought over. They were actually before this, and I'm going to butcher this name, but they were basically the India-Malaysia team. Basically, all the Malaysian Indians formed a team with a bunch of players from an academy based in KL and in PJ. And they formed this team. And now a real estate developer group came in and bought that PJ team and named it PJ City FC. Their colors are almost exactly the same as Man City. And they're a completely new team. What they are is basically they're trying to build from within PJ to represent PJ law as a privately owned team. First of all, I think that's incredible because we can't have state team run by states anymore. We're living on government state income to fund these teams. And when we're depending on that, it's just not working. So maybe more private ownership needs to be looked at. Coming back to what I'm saying, JDT. JDT is the example of a team that has been run immaculately. Look, yeah, you have your opinions about Johor royalty, lah. I'm not going to tell you to change your mind or to think that they're gods or anything like that. But as far as I'm concerned, how they've run that team is the right way. Even if TMJ put himself in the celebrity game and scored that chip goal from the box. Did anyone see that? I saw that. That was crazy. I didn't know the guy could even play football, let alone like. But when you look at his past, actually, he's quite heavily involved in football as a player and as whatever. That celebrity game, by the way, had all the celebrities. Esteban Cambiaso came here, Desai, all these guys, they were all there for that game. So I think the ownership of JDT and the management that have done so well to improve that team. And I think we need to give more credit. Because not only are they winning this league, they're about to win it undefeated. Not only that, they were also the team that represents Malaysia in the Champions League, the Asian Champions League. So I think that's pretty impressive. I think they are a good model for how a team should be run. Maybe more private owners might come in, do it this way. I have high hopes for PJ City FC. So we'll see. The other good thing on the national stage again for the Puskas Award, Harold Golan. He's French, plays for Pahang. He scored that amazing free kick from the halfway line. Now, on Bernama, I said I like Faiz Subri's goal more. For all those of you who don't remember, does anybody remember Faiz Subri? Because that guy is an actual Puskas Award winner, And he scored that amazing free kick, which just curved. I think Faiz's goal was harder because I think his goal was better because to emulate that kind of curve, do you know how hard you got to kick that ball? I think if I train for the rest of my life also, I don't think I can kick that ball that hard. But that was a fantastic goal. Golan's goal is more like physics, They'll be using that in classrooms and stuff, If Harold Golan kicked the ball this way, how long before it drops, gravity affects it? Drop into the goal. I think that was impressive. I think Harold Golan deserved it. But if I compare, I like Faiz Subri's goal more. But, I hope Harold Golan wins it. I hope it does. So, yeah, that's that. FA Cup final coming up soon. Kedah versus Perak. You're probably not going to be able to get the tickets, because we can't buy it online. You all need to go and line up and get it. But I'm looking forward to this final, especially the way Perak came back against Pahang 3-0. They came back from a 3-1 deficit and they hammered Pahang 3-0 in the second leg, and they came back for that. And Kedah's a very strong team. It's going to be an interesting final. I know a lot of Perak fans who are my friends who wear Perak jerseys and watch the games and all that. That's crazy. So, yeah, maybe something to look forward to. Maybe something to watch, It'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. Last year, I watched Perak against Terengganu. Holy crap, that was a crazy final. Ended 4-3. So, yeah. Watch more local football. I think it'd be worth your while sometimes, So, yeah, guys. I think that's about it for today. And the main topics and stuff. Lots to talk about in the future once the Premier League starts. Transfers are ongoing, so things are happening in the transfer window. So we'll have more to talk about as the thing progresses. So I'll talk about Malaysian football as well. Just thought I should give a legit shout out to some of our local flavor, different types of sports and stuff like that. And one really unique person I thought I should talk about is this girl who is competing in the Malaysian Professional Wrestling League, known as Nordiana, also known as AKA the Phoenix, AKA Malaysia's first hijab wrestler. So I think it's a fantastic story. I know that she won the WrestleCon title yesterday. So big shout out to her. Congratulations, because that title is a title that's traditionally held by men. It's the first time that a woman has carried that title, so that's interesting. Yes, professional wrestling has this stigma of it being staged or whatever, but it doesn't change the fact that people are actually jumping off very high places, hitting each other with hard objects. You still need to be athletic to do all these things. Legit, there is a good case to be made for someone like this who is trying their best to be the best in their field, whether it be professional wrestling or diving or badminton or whatever. I think we should show love and support to the people who are actually, trying their best in their field. And to Nordiana, I think you are an embodiment of what it is to be a Malaysian, because we're always willing to try random crazy ass stuff. Whatever we try, we go and try also, whether we're the worst or the best or whatever. But the point is, if you don't try it, how are you going to ever know if you can make it? So that's all for now, guys. I got a lot more I want to talk about, but we're gonna do that in the future, definitely. And talk about more stuff related to sports, more stuff related to football. We can go more in depth as well. I'm really looking forward to it. And most of all, I want to hear from you guys. Hit me up. Tell me, put it in the comments. Email me in my address, or just slide into my DMs. We can talk about different issues, different topics, the stuff that you guys want to talk about. And, that's something that I'm very interested in doing. So I'm always looking forward to fresh ideas and, more stuff to talk about. Like I said, I've got Facebook, Instagram, the comments, anywhere and everywhere. You can definitely reach me. Until next time.